I'm sorry, Eagles fans, if most of 2017 I didn't really buy into your guys all the way. I didn't believe in them all the way. I maybe viewed them as a bit of a contender, but was always wondering if it was a year too soon, if it was a year too early, if they weren't quite ready for prime time. My apologies to you, but maybe that worked out for the best, because you avoided the old Schleg Daddy jinx, where I get really hot on them, I get really high on them, and then they ultimately disappoint. By maybe staying under the radar with them, maybe not fully throwing my weight behind them until it really mattered. Always remember that, when it really mattered. Maybe it was the best thing that could have happened to you. Who the hell knows? What the hell do you know? After all that time, after all those years, after all those seasons of disappointment, the Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. That sounds funny even saying it. The Philadelphia Eagles are world champions. I guess it's a reason to climb on awnings at hotels until they collapse. Try to climb light poles and then get pantsed and fall on your head. Eat horse shit. Ride ostriches. I don't know what the hell else Philly did. It's one of those things, you lose, the city burns. You win, the city burns, because that's acceptable behavior. I guess. Well, when you look at this Eagles team, it's amazing how far they came in such a short period of time. A couple of seasons ago, Chip Kelly sunk his grips into that freaking organization. Jeffrey Lurie got caught in a land of stupidity, chose him over Howie Roseman, and paid the price. And absolutely, unequivocally paid the price. And Chip Kelly did all he could to kill the locker room and try to build the team in his image because he just knew he didn't know shit. So thankfully for the Eagles, after that 2015 season, they showed Chip Kelly the door. Howie Roseman gets his job back, so to speak, as the real GM of the team, the real shot caller of the team. And what did he do? He got to work. He assembled an awesome offensive coaching staff, spearheaded by his choice of head coach and former NFL backup, Doug Peterson, coming from the Andy Reid coaching tree, who brings in Frank Reich, former backup for the Bills for all those years, to be his offensive coordinator, Joe DiFilippo, to be the quarterback coach. You start off there, and then you go and you get your quarterback. Ultimately, when all is said and done, doesn't matter whether you've taken them where you originally were drafting or you had to trade up a ton. If it works, and that's all that matters. The Eagles identified their guy in the way Howie Roseman was able to maneuver from pick 13, if I remember correctly, to pick 8, and then eventually to pick 2. To be able to get in the position to draft Carson Wentz was pure genius. Then to turn around after getting the face of the franchise for the future in Carson Wentz, to take Sam Bradford, another one of Chip Kelly's great contributions to the organization. He was able to pop him off to a desperate Vikings team for a first and fourth round pick. Like, who the fuck gives up a first and fourth round pick for Sam Bradford? Oh, I know. The team that got their ass whooped at home at Philly in the NFC Championship game. They had to watch the Eagles go into Minnesota, into Minneapolis, and win Super Bowl 52. That's the organization that trades for Sam Bradford. Oh, my goodness, and a first and fourth round pick at that. But man, over the past couple of years, Roseman really got to work bringing in guys in free agency, like LeGarrette Blount, like Chris Long, drafting guys like Derek Barnett, trading for guys like Timmy Jernigan, signing free agents like Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith. You know, getting somebody kind of off of the scrap heap because he had some familiarity with Doug Peterson going back to the Andy Reid days and Nick Foles. My God, you want to talk about all the great moves that Roseman made between trades, free agency, and the draft. What do you know? The one that saved the season was freaking Nick Foles. One of the actual great success stories from Chip Kelly's time in Philadelphia, going back to a spectacular 2013 season. But as the season went along, like, you looked at the Eagles, they really hadn't beaten much of anybody early in the year. But they're going at a pretty good clip. And then all of a sudden you get to that point late in the season, Carson Wentz tears up his knee, and now he's going to be out for the year. And you're totally right to think that even with the front four that they had on defense, the weapons that they had on offense, Zach Ertz having the monster year that he did, guys like Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar really coming to his own in year 3 in the NFL, you're like, is this the one that kills him? I mean, you already lost Jason Peters to injury, you had other injuries, but this was the one you're like, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. And admittedly, as the regular season closed out, you saw absolutely nothing that indicated that Nick Foles was going to be the guy to lead the Eagles to the promised land. Absolutely not. And then a funny thing happened along the way. Nick Foles got hot. He got really hot. And son of a bitch, no matter what, he will always be a legend in Philly sports lore, as he should be, as he deserves to be. This is what's crazy about this, is the Philadelphia Eagles, as a number 1 seed in the NFC, were underdogs in all 3 playoff games they had. The divisional round against Atlanta, the NFC Championship game against Minnesota, and both of those games at home, and then, of course, in the Super Bowl to the New England Patriots. But you look at that Atlanta game, and it felt like that was the game they could really trip up. That was going to be the real test, because Atlanta had just beaten the Rams on the road the week before. The Falcons had that Super Bowl experience from the previous season. They looked like they were putting it together. They looked like they were really clicking. They were a hot team. And Philadelphia did just enough. Their defense played well. Nick Foles made enough plays when it mattered. And they found a way to win. They had to hold on to do it, especially with that ridiculous play at the end of the game by the Falcons offensively when you're on the 2-yard line. That's what the hell you call? The Eagles held on. And then you're waiting. It's the NFC Championship game. They've got the Vikings coming in. Vikings coming off of their miraculous victory over the Saints on the last play of the game. Oopsie daisies, Marcus Williams. Yippee-ki-yay, Stephon Diggs, motherfucker. You get to the NFC Championship game, and now, even though it's in Philadelphia, you're like, Minnesota's got to have all this momentum. They're 1 game away from being able to host the Super Bowl. There's got to be something. And then Nick Foles goes out there and absolutely destroys a historically great 3rd down defense. To put this in perspective, the last team to be as successful as to prevent opposing offenses from converting on 3rd down as the Vikings were in 2017 were the Purple People Eaters of the mid-1970s. The Purple People Eaters, appropriately, made a bunch of Super Bowls, didn't win a damn one of them. Just like the 2017 Minnesota Vikings did. Skull. You shut that horn shit up real quick when the Super Bowl. But this was crazy, man. Philly went in there and they destroyed them. They clowned them. They embarrassed them. Even though Minnesota was up early and it didn't look very good, once you got that pick 6, it was all downhill from there. The Eagles just steamrolled them. And it was at that moment in time, after they steamrolled the Vikings, I felt like I was looking at the world champions. Whereas the Patriots were struggling to beat the Jaguars at home, here are the Eagles housing arguably the best defense in the league that was historically great on 3rd down, and Nick Foles made Swiss cheese out of them. When I looked at that matchup heading into Super Bowl 52, it's like these things, 3rd time's the charm. The 3rd time the Eagles have been to the Super Bowl, this has got to be the time. You know, this is justice for the 2004 season when they lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots that time. This is for Norm Van Brocklin. This is for Chuck Bednarik, Concrete Charlie, and that 1960 Eagles team, the last team to win a world championship for the Philadelphia Eagles. 1960, when they played at Franklin Field, beating a young Vince Lombardi-led Green Bay Packers team. Going back in the day, 57 damn years ago. It felt like, though, with the superior roster that they had, the matchups that seemed to mostly point in the favor of the Eagles, and Nick Foles playing just not well enough, they would do just enough to be able to win. And then when you get to the Super Bowl, here comes Nick Foles ripping shit up, and the defense really honestly didn't show up, except when it really truly mattered the most at the very tail end of the game with the Brandon Graham strip sack. This is just insane. It's one thing if a Jeff Hostetler leads the Giants to a victory in Super Bowl 25, taken over late in the year for an injured Phil Simms, that was still run the ball, play great defense with Lawrence Taylor and that 3-4 defense of Parcells and Belichick. Hostetler was manage the game, don't turn the ball over, We'll cautiously play our way to victory, and that's what they did in that Super Bowl that year. Beat them, 20-19? The Norwood missed field goal. They kept that K-Gun, Jim Kelly, no-huddle offense off the field by playing ball control, by playing keep away. Not this Nick Foles team. They were pouncing. They were attacking. They were exquisite in their offensive game planning, their execution, the balls that they had to go for it on fourth down, and then to go for it right before the end of the half on fourth down in that territory where you've got an easy chip shot field goal. You're not going for 3, you're going for 6, you're going to score because you're here to win the fucking Super Bowl. I love when guys have the guts to make these calls and they pay off because it rewards balls. I don't care how it sounds. I like balls in my coaches. And I like guys that have the testicular fortitude to make those type of decisions. What a great season for the Philadelphia Eagles. You found your quarterback of the future last year in Carson Wentz. He's having an MVP type of season. He blows up his knee. And Nick Foles comes in, of all people, and leads you to a goddamn Super Bowl victory. Over Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots. You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. If you did, you'd clown me, but it actually happened. Who gives a crap about anything else at this point? Why take it seriously? If you're an Eagles fan, jump up and down, lick your dick. I don't care what you do. You are the world champions. Just please stop eating horse poop. And I personally want to extend a debt of gratitude to the Philadelphia Eagles for making me look good. Because I did go out on a limb. I made a hot take. And I served that bitch up like apple pie straight out of the oven to all you mother humpers out there. And they made me look good. They made me look real good. And all those that tried to tell me I was crazy off my rocker. No way the Eagles were going to win. No way the Patriots were going to lose. Well, tell me how my ass tastes.